So Wendy's has a new coffee item on their menu, the Frosty Cream Cold Brew. So Wendy's is always trying to add new stuff to their breakfast lineup, and it sometimes works, most of the time doesn't really work. They have a lot of great ideas for their breakfast menu, if you ask me. But this drink isn't specifically for their breakfast menu, it's all day. As the name suggests, it's the first cold brew coffee that Wendy's is offering. Now this follows up the Frosty Chino, which I really enjoy. The vanilla version at least. Frosty Chino comes in vanilla and chocolate. The chocolate is too overpowering to me. The vanilla has just the right amount of sweetness, if sometimes too much. The quality control at fast food restaurants is obviously nothing too special. But I'm always down to try a new coffee drink, no matter how they make it, so let's look at the nutrition. According to fastfoodnutrition.org, a Wendy's small vanilla frosty cream cold brew contains 170 calories, 3 grams of fat, and 31 grams of carbohydrates, and 27 grams of sugar. This compares to the small vanilla frosty chino, which has about 210 calories, and 5 grams of fat. So overall, it looks like the cold brew is a bit healthier, if not by very much. So overall, not the best thing to have if you're trying to lose weight, but I do what I must for the review. Now, according to a Washington Post review of the Frosty Cream Cold Brew, written by Tim Carmen, according to this Washington Post article, John Lee, the Global Vice President of Culinary Innovation for Wendy's, gave us an answer for what's the difference between the Frosty Cream Cold Brew and the Frosty Chino. According to him, quote, Wendy's noticed that customers wanted more of that coffee flavor, so with the new Frosty Cream Cold Brew, we flipped the build. Instead of leading with ice, we are focused on the ratio of flavors first. This begins with adding the preferred syrup, vanilla, chocolate, caramel, followed by Wendy's signature Frosty Cream, real cold brew, and ice. It's a better balance of flavors overall. Now I work at Starbucks, and I know in fact that we do put the ice first. So leading with the ratio of flavors first to give a more consistent balance of flavor with coffee is a good strategy. But not all fast food employees function the same. Most follow the preferred order, but not all, as I can attest to. If you're in a hurry and you need to make something quickly, you're not worried about the sequencing. So while this is a good idea in theory, in practice it might not all work out. Furthermore, a spokeswoman for Wendy's told the writer the chain uses a blend of Sumatran beans, which are steeped for 12 hours in cold water. This all makes for a very not bitter cup of coffee, which I prefer. The cold brew drink itself has seen mixed reactions. Some Wendy's are selling the new Frosty Cream Cold Brew for 99 cents for a span of 2 weeks. Personally, when going through the drive-thru, mine was not 99 cents, so either they forgot this promotion or it wasn't going on at my local Wendy's. So, let's see how all 3 flavors hold up to scrutiny. Okay. So we're about to go try this thing. I've already had the Frosty Chino. I love the vanilla one. I'm not having high hopes for this. The Frosty Chino, they always put too much of their creamer in it, but hey, there's really no quality control on this either. The Wendy's is good, but much like Tim Hortons, the quality control is basically non-existent. Thank God this is not a exclusive breakfast item because we would not make it in time for that. Let's get going. So, I don't know if I've mentioned this before on my channel. I might have, but I am a huge Wendy's fan, to an embarrassing degree. I like to think that company marketing doesn't really work on me. You know, all the new stuff that McDonald's or kind of like Burger King, all that stuff, all they put out is garbage. But Wendy's, for several years now, I think ever since I started high school, I've tried to go to Wendy's to get almost every new thing they've put out. I'm not always consistent, but look, when it comes to coffee, I'm willing to try anything new. They already came out with the Frosty Chino, and I think that's pretty good, but only the vanilla one. I believe they only have vanilla and chocolate. Trash. Like chocolate coffee, I'm not a huge fan of anyway. We're going to try and get one of each flavor, though, when we go today. The Frosty Cream Cold Brew was released with 3 flavors. Instead of vanilla and chocolate, there is vanilla, chocolate, and caramel. Coffee is bitter, and you want something sweet to counteract the bitterness. Vanilla, sweet. Chocolate, not always, but caramel, yes. Now, if any fast food company out there, Wendy's, sponsor me, please. If you want the real pro strats for sweetening your coffee and getting people to show up for it, hear me out. Marshmallow. So some of you are probably thinking, too rich for my blood, but marshmallow sauce that you get at like an ice cream place, it would be so good in a coffee. If it wasn't too overpowering, you want something really sweet to counteract bitterness. Marshmallow coffee not only sounds very American and fatty, and you would actually get people to show up for it, but it's such a novelty, and I can't think of another place that does marshmallow coffee. And you could do it well. People put marshmallows in hot chocolate. You're already halfway there. Anyway, that's my pitch. Okay. Now comes time to actually do the review. So, we got... Actually can't read through my glasses. Caramel, vanilla, chocolate. Alright. Let's do this. Hopefully you already heard the nutrition part. Alright. This is vanilla. Looks pretty much like a coffee. Okay. Initial reaction. It's just a vanilla Frosty-ccino. I don't know what I was expecting. All coffee starts to taste the same after a while. There is a bit of a difference. There's a bit, just a tiny bit of difference. The aftertaste holds just a bit longer than the Frosty-ccino does. I can tell it's cold brew because it's just a tiny bit stronger, but there is a better blend of coffee and Frosty than I thought there'd be. Normally their vanilla Frosty-ccino is overwhelmingly frosty. It's coffee, but you hit really deep pockets of sweetness with the Frosty, and that's all you can taste. And it actually gets really warm when you hit one of those pockets. The creamer doesn't always mix well with the coffee, but here it seems pretty evenly balanced. At least in the one that they made for me. That's not bad. Now, on to the chocolate. I hate chocolate coffee. So if this is at least passable, I'll be all right. I hit a sweet pocket immediately, and it's not as bad as the chocolate Frosty-ccino. But it is very sweet, and I can't seem to break through that pocket. Ugh. I'm really hitting chocolate here, and I did not want to hit chocolate. This isn't nasty, but it's just a bit too sweet and distracting. I forget this one is coffee. It's a nuttier chocolate than what I'm getting from the Frosty-ccino. A better chocolate, but chocolate is not great nonetheless. This isn't just a personal preference. Obviously, I already told you I don't like chocolate flavored coffee. Not a huge fan of it. But if you do like chocolate flavored coffee, this is a bit overpowering on the coffee. So would not highly recommend that, but it is still more well-made than everything Tim Hortons makes. And I love Tim Hortons, so actually, love is a strong word. I tolerate Tim Hortons customer service here in my hometown. So last but not least, this is the caramel. Looks exactly the same. Visually, coffee reviews are not the most interesting. It's all coffee. I mean, what do you expect? But for context, I really like caramel coffee, so I will hold this to a higher standard than the chocolate. I'm getting 0 caramel, which is not a good thing. With the chocolate, I seem to hit a pocket of that frosty creamer right away. I can't find it with this one. Now again, the quality control of these fast food restaurants, you can't expect too much. So maybe they just went really light with the caramel on this one. I still don't taste caramel at all, and that's not good. Caramel as a flavor, you want to be a bit stronger. It doesn't hit quite as heavy as chocolate flavoring does. So you want to be able to hit little bits of caramel in there. You can taste the actual syrup, but in this one you can't. Caramel is kind of a dud here. Sucks. I was really hoping to give that one a good score. All right. Oh shit. I don't remember which one's which. All right, hang on. I know this is caramel. This is chocolate. Vanilla. So here is my ranking. Caramel, not good. Comes in third. I don't really like doing tier lists, but I give it a D. It's possible they just didn't make mine with a lot of caramel. If there was more caramel, I might bump it up to a B. But I'm not tasting very much at all right now. Chocolate, even though I don't love chocolate, I'm getting flavor and it tastes unique. It doesn't taste like every coffee ever. And that alone gives it some points. The chocolate creamer is very nutty, which I personally like. You might not, but I think for someone going in expecting chocolate, you will be pretty pleased with this. I'm giving this one C. Now the vanilla. The vanilla is a bit more subtle, but I do prefer it over the chocolate. I don't like my iced coffee to be too flavored, else it loses its coffee soul. So the vanilla I would still give a B. It's not the best iced coffee out there. I wish it had just a bit more sweet. If it did, it would be A, but for right now it's B. D, C, B.